Hello, it's me again, Gus here. I thought today I'd do a little look through an old sketchbook of mine that I did from, you can see here, from 2017 to 2021. This is obviously a few years old now. It's number 11 in the series, and this takes place obviously during my sort of second half of my university years to obviously through the sort of the dark times, the lockdown years, the silly years. Yes, so we'll start here. This is probably around 2017, beginning of 2017. You can see here, yeah. I was in my first year of university. Went camping with some of the fellow students with the mountaineering course up at Staffordshire University, and these were just like little quick sketches I did. Sort of playing around with colour, you can see there, which is nice, some nice purples there. Yeah, so this is a watercolour sketchbook, so it's best suited to these kind of watery sketches. Although obviously in this environment it was raining and it was a bit, unpreferable really to be working. But sometimes you just have to work with what you've got. Here I was playing with, I think, some washes with one of my fellow mountaineering, what do you call it? Mountain climbing friends or gang. A little up there, you can see there. Now, some of this is sort of here and there. I think most of these, to be honest, that was, I think, in Liverpool, near this nice open common land we have. Some nice little sketch there. I'm still sort of figuring out how to use watercolor. I'm not the best, but I'm pretty sure that all this took place in Bridgend. I got a job on a feature film, Chuck Steele, Night of the Trampies, at obviously in Cardiff at what's it called, Animortal Studio, and that was a stop motion feature. So it was great to figure out how to see how the best do it in industry of working with plasticine, sculpting a lot of multiple heads and stuff. I can make that into another video at some point, but this was in my weekends off. I go around South Wales looking at all the old castles, because there's a lot of old castles in that area. You can see here, I think, I can't remember the name of this one, but this was in Bridgend. I believe it was in Bridgend, yes, although could it be Caerphilly Castle? This is all near Cardiff, if you know South Wales. And I think the Normans came in, obviously, 1,000 years ago or so, and they built all these castles to impress all the Saxons, who were the local guys. And obviously you can see some little cartoony sketches here and there. Nothing too specific here. Oh yes, here we go. Yes, Welsh. You can see here Welsh coastline, Bridgend. Some nice little sketches here. This is one of the castles as well, looking like this way. It was a nice little opening. But yeah, what's interesting, obviously the Normans came in, the Frenchies came in and built these castles, and obviously that was designed. The idea was to sort of impress, somewhat to dominate the Saxons, or the Welsh. I think the Welsh were obviously there. I'm not sure they were Saxon. I think they were. And obviously Tolkien, when he did Lord of the Rings, is obviously going back to that sort of lost Saxon culture, which the kind of very dominant French Normans came in and kind of tried to wipe that out a bit with William the Conqueror, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, here's another one, little sketch. Although this one worked out quite nice. Little, just worked first off with a bit of marker. There's a pro marker and then a bit of ink on the top. It looks quite nice. Yeah, there you go, Candleston Castle. This was in that same area, Bridgend, Candleston. And this was I forget what that says, Porthmall or something. I think it was Porthmall. Another little coastline along the south of Wales there. Some nice little, you can see boats and seagulls. Very characterful boat there. So yeah, this is now getting on for, is it 7 years ago now? So that's quite some time now. Funny. And yeah, some more little rock configurations that look really cool in location, but when you do this, it looks maybe not as impressive. But I'm trying to go for like a James Gurney kind of style and look. Some more little bits and bobs from Bridgend, little cartoon caricatures. Again, another one from Bridgend. This was in a slightly rougher neighbourhood. I remember the rough kids around here when I was doing this painting and sort of going, putting my life into my hands a bit. There's some really nice, I really like the texture of that for the water, really lovely. I was really proud of that. And this is main Cardiff Castle. I forget the name of this one. There should be a name here somewhere, it doesn't say. But in the main castle in Cardiff, the city, there's this lovely little, is it church, or these sort of hall within the castle gates. This lovely little angel there that I sort of thought I'd copy down. And this sort of, I thought this may have been in the, I think it was in the castle as well, that nice armour. And I'm trying to put in a bit of, not just grey. Sometimes, especially when you do armour, it can kind of get washed out in grey. Great, and I think that's about it. Yeah. Some more soldiers. There's a mock soldiers fighting in that castle. So, yeah, there you go, Cardiff Castle, and that's the central keep within the walls, which you can see. So that's cool. That's on a hill. Reminds me a bit of the what do you call it? Windsor Castle as well, that one. This one here is obviously Caerphilly Castle, very much more glamorous. This one of my favourite sketches, I think, especially watercolour sketches, is this one here. There's another study of it from a distance there. I think this has been used in various movies and such, obviously, because it's very photogenic, I think, this castle. It's got a lovely big sort of moat as well. I think I was there during there's a big cheese festival, this big festival to do with cheese, and I was there for that on that weekend. Although I did find towards the end of my working at that feature film Chuck Steele that I was getting a bit knackered, so I stopped going as much on the weekends to do sketches and stuff like this. This was outside of my window in Bridgend, some sort of moody skies, and I'm kind of working out different ideas, costumes, and this is sort of the beginning of the St. George and the Dragon ideas were sort of, I think, starting to form around this time. The film I made for my final year of uni, so that's all sort of bubbling away. So that obviously when I started my second year of uni, I was already had an idea for what I was going to do for my third year film. And this is back in obviously Stoke-on-Trent. The little, is it a water mill? Would you call it? I don't know what you call it. More nature sketches from that area. This was on I did a trip to America with the university students, and we obviously went to a lot of the major studios to do like a little tour. So we went to obviously Pixar in San Francisco, and then we went to Disney Studios up in LA, and oh my gosh, there's that famous university, famous, what's it called, CalArts. We went to CalArts as well, and various others. Nickelodeon, so that was kind of fun up in LA. But this was obviously San Francisco. I'm not the best with lines. My skills aren't always the best. I kind of have my limitations, but I kind of work with it in my caricatures. I kind of work into my grubbiness of line. And this is a beautiful view from the north side of obviously the Golden Gate Bridge, and there you go, some nice visuals. Obviously, San Francisco, I believe, is named after St. Francis, and obviously I'm Francis Augustine Kearns, so I associated to this city a little bit, well, I suppose just in the name, but obviously it's not really very, as far as I'm aware, not very Christian anymore these days, but I had that sort of association with it, I suppose, for me. And here's Margate. This is another place I worked on various Lego projects and stop motion projects, commercials and such in A+C Studios at the sort of the southeastern tip of the UK. So you see this sort of beach is where I believe oh my gosh, Dunkirk, when the ships went off to help the soldiers get off Dunkirk, a lot of them were the shipmen along here, the sort of the regular shipmen on their fisher boats, and they'd go out and help the people at Dunkirk. So that's what there was, like little plaques around Margate to do with that event. Obviously, this is the Pump House in Liverpool, kind of a nice, well-known sort of pub by the Albert Dock, the waterfront near the city, and more little casual little sketches here. This is of wow. This is skipping forward a bit. This is obviously during the lockdown, the sort of silly lockdown periods and stuff, where we obviously sort of doing some nature sketches and stuff. I was up by the cathedral. I lived Gambier Terrace, which is near essentially where I think John Lennon and such used to live, so it's kind of well known for that. And there's a nice big old Victorian graveyard, and some nice interesting gravestones, and the way the light falls down on the stuff is interesting. And skipping forward again, you can see obviously it's my watercolour sketchbook, so I only go to it occasionally. There's a few, obviously the nice canal boat. This is in London. I was working in London. I'm still in London now, obviously. Nelson's Column, which I obviously did a little sketch of. This is 3mm. Is it 3mm Studio? This is actually interesting because it's just this old mill here is literally just like behind here is basically the buildings where they filmed a lot of stop motion films, like I believe Corpse Bride. They did. That's why I kind of did this painting actually, because they did Corpse Bride there, and they did, I think, Isle of Dogs. I think Fantastic Mr. Fox. I could be wrong about Isle of Dogs, but I'm pretty sure it's Fantastic Mr. Fox and Corpse Bride, and a lot of the sort of the Wes Anderson-y stop motion stuff is done here. But for me, obviously, what's close to my heart is obviously Corpse Bride and Fantastic Mr. Fox. So it was nice to kind of see that part of London. And obviously interesting, the actual London Isle of Dogs is just around the corner. A very, very close stone's throw away from 3mm Studio. So I think a lot of people suspect that Wes Anderson, kind of as he was working on Fantastic Mr. Fox, got some inspiration for his Isle of Dogs film, literally living just by the Isle of Dogs, working by the Isle of Dogs. Although I'm not sure he was fully in the UK working on the film. I think he had another animation director working on that film with him on that project, I believe, but I could be wrong about that. Again, I didn't work on that film. And this is Barking Abbey in Barking, and this is where I believe, okay, I don't know whose email that is, please don't email them. But this is yes, where, what's his name, I believe Captain Cook got married here. It's just by this nice old, it's in East London as well, it's 3mm, and it was where Captain Cook got married, and had a nice little old, well, it's destroyed now, I believe it was a convent or a monastery nearby. It's all obviously got destroyed in the Reformation, which was sad, but it's nice to walk around the grounds and imagine I believe the nuns walking around there, back in the day. Let's have a look. Yes, this is a beautiful bridge. The Hammersmith Bridge is West London now. It's a lovely sort of emerald green, very reminiscent of obviously the Victorian era. I think obviously it was done, I believe, during that era. And the emerald always makes me think of Victorian era, because I believe is there an emerald? There's a sort of emerald sort of statues and stuff or whatever in Sydney, where I used to live. There's this old Victorian building where they had these emerald decorations or something that were for Prince Albert or Queen Victoria, sort of very Victorian things. So I always associate emerald buildings and such. Obviously they're painted emerald as to the Victorian time period. And this is Greenwich College, and obviously I've done a little tour of that with my little 3D sketches, but this was a painting I did sitting there. Up Islington Church, where they now do a lot of talks and stuff. I don't think it's used as a church anymore. And this is to Dartford, various bits and bobs. More paintings and such. Obviously Greenwich, the nice little, what do you call it, meantime. Tower of London. It's a nice little touch there. What's that little pelican? Yes, a pelican apparently. And obviously that's British Museum. Yeah, so these sketches aren't like phenomenal, but they're just sort of bits and bobs. Again, another one from looking on from sort of the Bermondsey area towards London Bridge, Tower Bridge. And this is one from North London, Alexander Palace, used in various films, but I think a lot of people just more chill out there. Music, mainly for music venue, I think this one now. This is near where I live as well, Southwark Park. Some nice little fantasy version. So I wanted to do a sort of, there's that one, and I want to do a Rodney Matthews version there, more pointed and angular and quirky. And then of course the tower bridge, very nice there. And yes, that's almost it. I did actually do some other sketches during the time in other sketchbooks, so I kind of ripped out the pages to use here. So you can see sort of various Skeksis. This is during the lockdown time. For some insane reason, I decided to use very cruddy paper. It said it was moleskine when I bought it on I think this was the sketchbook where it said it was moleskine on eBay, but obviously it's very thin paper. But I was like, oh, it must be really thin paper, moleskine or something. Obviously, it's just really cruddy paper, but it is what it is. I was watching a lot of Asterix that time during the early lockdown period, so getting inspiration from that, and obviously got the nice old buildings, obviously in Liverpool. This is back up in Liverpool. Nice little, yeah, they just had these nice little block kind of structure, kind of mausoleum and stuff, Victorian graveyard, which is interesting. And obviously I'm playing with different ideas there off of my old Jason George and the Dragon film. Yeah, so another little mausoleum type thing. Grass, the sort of roots of a tree there. Nice little bits and bobs. So this is quite nice, this stuff. I quite like this stuff. And I'm not specially suited to watercolour, but some of this can be nice. See that there? There we go. Some leaves, old lampposts and such. Yeah, nice gravestones. Some more there. There we go. And where am I here? This is obviously Everton lockup, very well known. This lockup is actually in the it's a place where the police used to put up the criminals in the area. If they catch them at night, they put them in this little building here on the Everton, I believe it's Everton Hill, and this is punishment. They'd have to sit in there for the rest of the night, and they'd be locked up there, and then they come and get them out in the morning, you know. But it's in the Everton Football Club. They have, I think, that image on it because it's quite iconic in the area. See little bits and bobs. Princess Park. Little bits. That's, I believe that's by the Liverpool dock, just north of the city centre. And this was actually, I believe, seen in the Captain America movie. It was kind of used as the a lot of that kind of the northern Liverpool docks are used in various movies to represent like New York, often New York docks. And this was used in, yeah, I think the New York dock scenes in Captain America. I can't remember the first movie where he was in a car or jumping out of a car and the car exploded. I can't quite remember, but it was there. Let's have a look at more bits and bobs around Liverpool. That's very nice. Let's have a look here. This is, I believe, in London now, so we've got a bit of the, I think, Tower of London. There's some nice little ships and such. There we go. More sketches. I'm still using this cruddy paper. When I start a sketchbook, I tend to just work through it, but I ended up giving up on this one. So obviously these are ink ones that worked quite well there, but then when we get to this, it's quite painful to work with and to look at, I'm afraid. Sorry about that. Nelson's column. So I walked all the way to... Did I walk this? No, I didn't. This is a different story. So obviously this is by Nelson's column. I think it's potential that obviously C.S. Lewis was inspired somewhat by these lines, these great lines by Nelson's column. I believe in the Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe, when they talk about when Aslan is introduced, they mention Nelson's column lines, you know, and obviously C.S. Lewis being not a London boy, but a British boy, he probably would have gone on trips to London when he was younger, so I wouldn't be hugely surprised if he was very influenced by the kind of old Victorian or even pre-Victorian lion sculptures around London. And there you go. Let's have a look. And yes, you've got obviously Buckingham Palace and various little guns by, I think, Mudshoot. And yeah, I think that's about it. Is that it? I'm finishing in here. Oh no, there's a few more. So this is my view from my studio when I was working as an obviously animator in London on various kids shows. So that was just a view from that. And I believe that's it. So there you go. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Obviously some of it's good, some of it's not so good, But if you enjoyed that, so like and subscribe, and yeah, hopefully in future sketchbooks you'll have a bit more fun, because obviously I'm not the best at watercolors, and it's not necessarily the best sketchbook, but I was trying to go more off of the James Gurney art style with the little small pads, and you get your paints out, watercolor paints and stuff. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, and ciao for now.